Hello and welcome to online class with me Nusrat Alam, lecturer in English, Milestone College. How are you all, my dear students? I believe you all are fine, staying at home and taking healthy food. I believe that we all know what is the importance of taking a healthy diet. We need to eat healthy and nutritious food in a good amount so that we don't suffer to malnutrition. But if we take it too much, then we might have to face overweight or some other problems as well. And whenever we talk about eating habits, there is a famous story that comes to our mind. Yes, I'm talking about the luncheon. My dear students, in my today's class, we are going to read the short story The Luncheon, written by William Somerset Maugham. William Somerset Maugham was a British novelist, playwright, and short story writer whose works were characterized by clear, lucid style and a profound understanding of human nature. The short story, The Luncheon, is about a lady admirer of the writer who managed to get a luncheon invitation from him at an expensive Paris restaurant 20 years ago. With humor and irony, the writer describes the lavish eating of this lady at his expense and what happens to her 20 years later. In our previous class on this short story, The Luncheon, we saw that a lady admirer managed a luncheon invitation from a very young writer. Though the writer was not financially strong enough to bear the expenses of an expensive restaurant, still he could not say no to the lady. And they went to the restaurant. In the beginning, the lady pretended that she doesn't eat much, but eventually she ordered the most expensive items that were available in the restaurant. The poor writer got really scared thinking about the expenses that are going to come. Now let's read the story and enjoy. So, my dear students, let's read this famous story, The Luncheon, written by William Somerset Maugham. I'm only going to eat one thing, I said. As the waiter came again with the bill of fare, she waved him aside with an airy gesture. No, no, I never eat anything for luncheon. Just a bite. I never want more than that, and I eat that more as an excuse for a conversation than anything else. I couldn't possibly eat anything more unless they had some of those giant asparagus. I should be sorry to leave Paris without having some of them. Oh dear, now this lady is going to order asparagus, which is really, really expensive. And asparagus is actually a kind of flowering plant and whose shoots are edible and really delicious. My heart sank. Well, for the writer, this experience is going to be just like a nightmare, definitely. Now, this very expensive asparagus is going to be ordered. I asked the waiter. I tried all my might to will him to say no. A happy smile appeared over the broad, priest like face, and he assured me that they had some so large, so splendid, so tender that it was a marvel. I'm not in the least hungry, my guest sighed. But if you insist, I don't mind having some asparagus. I ordered them. Aren't you going to have any? No, I never eat asparagus. Here, the writer only ordered asparagus for the lady, but as the writer doesn't want to order it for him, now the lady also becomes serious about that. And let's see what she says. I know there are people who don't like them. The fact is, you ruin your palate by all the meat you eat. It means ordering a mutton chop has become fatal for this writer. And again, this lady is taunting him for ordering that mutton chop. And now what she's saying? She means that he has destroyed his taste by eating heavy luncheon or meat
And that's why he cannot taste or he doesn't get any taste in these kinds of things. We waited for the asparagus to be cooked. Panic seized me. It was not a question now to how much money I should have left over for the rest of the month, but whether I had enough to pay the bill. In this situation, we really feel for the writer. He had to spend rest of the month. This poor guy calculated in a wrong way and thought that a moderate luncheon is not going to cost him much. But now he has reached to a situation that he is wondering how he is going to spend his rest of the month. In this situation, we really feel for this writer. This poor guy didn't have much money with him, though he thought that he would be able to afford it. But now it is a question that whether he would be able to pay the bill or not. Thinking that, the writer became really scared.
Here we can see that the lady guest is a talkative person. She talks a lot about having healthy food, but eventually we could see that she eats a lot. Though she says she doesn't eat more than one thing in her luncheon, but we could see that she ordered a number of most expensive things that were available in that restaurant.
The asparagus appeared. They were enormous, succulent, and appetizing. Well, enormous means huge, succulent means tender and juicy, appetizing means tasty or appealing. Definitely, they were very appealing. The smell of the melted butter tickled my nose. Coffee, I said. Yes, just an ice cream and coffee, she answered. I was past caring now, so I ordered coffee for myself and an ice cream and coffee for her. Here we can see that the writer has given up thinking about his budget. Now he's ordering all the things that she could eat. You know, there is one thing I thoroughly believe in, she said as she ate the ice cream. One should always get up from a meal feeling one could eat a little more. Are you still hungry? I asked faintly. Still eating after all these things, still this lady is telling that one should always get up from meal feeling one could eat a little more. This is really ridiculous. So the writer again asked, are you still hungry? Oh no, I'm not hungry. You see, I don't eat luncheon. I have a cup of coffee in the morning and then dinner. But I never eat more than one thing for luncheon. I was speaking for you. Oh, I see. Then a terrible thing happened. While we were waiting for the coffee, the head waiter, with an ingratiating smile on his false face, came up to us bearing a large basket full of huge peaches. Well, when the writer thought that this could be the end of today's ordering, the head waiter brought a huge basket full of peaches. They had the blush of an innocent girl. They had the rich tone of an Italian landscape. But surely peaches were not in the season then. Lord knew what they cost. You see, you have filled your stomach with a lot of meat. My one miserable little chop. Again, we can see that the lady guest is taunting this writer for ordering a mutton chop. And you can't eat anymore. But I have just had a snack and I shall enjoy a peach. So the lady is going to eat another peach also. The bill came, and when I paid it, I found that I had only enough for a quite inadequate tip. Well, luckily, the writer could pay the bill, but the tip that he paid was not sufficient. Her eyes rested for an instant on the 3 francs I left for the waiter, and I knew that she thought me mean. But when I walked out of the restaurant, I had the whole month before me and not a penny in my pocket. Oh, poor fellow, this man has lost all his savings that he had in this luncheon, and he still had to run rest of the month, but he had not a single penny in his pocket. This is really pathetic. Follow my example, she said, as we shook hands, and never eat more than one thing for luncheon. The writer said, I'll do better than that, I retorted. I will eat nothing for dinner tonight. This line was said by the writer sharply. I will eat nothing for dinner tonight. But unfortunately, this inconsiderate lady, didn't understand the pain of this writer. She thought that he was a humorist. Humorist, she cried gaily, jumping into a cab. You are quite a humorist. But I have had my revenge at last. I do not believe that I am a vindictive man, but when the immortal gods take a hand in the matter, it is pardonable to observe the result with complacency. Today she weighs 21 stone. Well, the writer is not an unkind person, but when he met her again, he saw that she became so overweight and she was nearly 300 pounds heavy. And this made her laugh, and he thought that God has taken his revenge.
Here, we could realize that though the lady guest talk a lot about healthy eating and eating less, but she is actually a food lover. And she does not only eat expensive food, she eats much. And after 20 years of that luncheon, the writer found that lady again when she was nearly 300 pounds. So we must be very careful about eating habits and we should eat as much as we need only. Don't eat much. I believe you enjoyed this famous story, short story, The Luncheon. With the hope of your better result and better education, I'm going to end up my today's class here. See you some other time with some other topic. Till then, bye bye.